Recording. Hello everyone. So this is something that I've been thinking about doing. Creating this channel was something that I had always thought of, but I just didn't think I'd have the time or the drive to do it. But in light of recent events, things have changed. I'm still incredibly busy as an individual, and I might not be able to always upload content on a regular basis, but we're going to try and do our very best. So, Four-Legged Plague is the name of the channel. I believe that vicious, violent dogs, the amount of injury and death and dismemberment that they cause and they do at the hands of their owners is maybe worse yet even than the actual plague. So that's why I chose the name that I chose. The dogs that I hate most are the big, nasty, vicious ones that you see right on the screen. My videos won't always be in PowerPoint format. This is just a first video to get one out there and to get the channel kicked off and test the waters. So, welcome. The focus of this channel will be to demonstrate and to prove through facts and reason why dogs do not belong in 99.9% of modern day human territory and cannot exist without an unreasonably high risk to reward ratio. To talk about annoying and unreasonable experiences with dogs and their brain-dead owners. To discuss the history and reasons why dogs have come to where they are and currently sit on the value tier in the minds of the worthless modern-day dog nuts that we have to deal with. To talk about how much I and we all hate dogs and why. For the most part, I will be focusing on large dogs and dog attacks and annoyances. You know, the way that I came about to this channel, or to my, I guess to my further hatred of dogs, where I am now. I mean, most people, from the time they're a kid, they don't hate dogs the way that adults do in our community. As adults, we perceive the threats in the world around us if our mind is working right. When you're a kid, you really don't think, boy, I could get mauled, I could get killed, I could die. It could end right here. It's really more when you get to be an adult and you're aware of what can actually happen, the real world, that you come to the realization that a big, vicious animal with a mouthful of teeth could alter or end your life. So, like I said, for the most part, I'll be focusing more on large dogs and dog attacks and annoyances. The way, and you'll have to excuse me, I have ADHD, so sometimes I ramble and I get off topic. That's part of the reason why I use the PowerPoint format to keep my thoughts on task and just to get all my thoughts out so that I don't forget anything. The way that I really kind of came down to where I stand with dogs, one day I was just kind of thinking, man, you know, my neighbor's dogs are so annoying. And I actually have brief video on another channel of them, and I'll see if I can get that uploaded here at some point in time. Give me just one sec. Okay, I'll worry about that later. I just typed into the search bar, I hate dogs. And wow, holy cow. there's an entire community about hating dogs. I mean, I like, I don't like dogs, but I mean, really someone would go this far? Well, let's see what they're about. And I really can't give them enough credit. The guy, I Hate Dogs, the channel, I mean, the guy is just absolutely on point with all of his arguments. I mean, when he says you cannot refute his arguments, I mean, the things that dog nuts say are just false. It's not a matter of opinion. And the fantasy world that they live in, we can choose to live in their fantasy world and incur diseases and risks that would otherwise not be there, or we can choose to live in the real world. So, I choose to live in the real world, and today, just in this video, I've given you a rundown on what this channel is going to be about, but I'm also going to go into a couple of experiences of mine, just so that, I can kind of give a reason as to why and how I came to where I stand with dogs. Because, most people, even if they're not dog nuts, if you say, man, I hate dogs. Oh, whoa, why do you hate dogs? I mean, you hate dogs? I mean, they're just animals. I mean, come on. I mean, they're going to think you're crazy. Unless you have a lot of reasons that can appeal to somebody else who, maybe even if they're not a dog nut, they can understand why you hate them or dislike them. And I don't just dislike them, I hate them. So, picture right here. I know this is really lousy format, and I mean, I made this on a whim. I may or may not get better. I'll probably do live in-person videos. It will really depend on how much time I can muster together. I work 10 hours a day, sometimes 6 days a week, and most of the time I don't spend at work, I spend with my wife. So we will see what happens in the future. Anyways, so the picture that you're looking at right now, it's an old picture, so bear with the low production quality. This is my personal experiences with dogs attacking me. Now, I am lucky to be able to say that neither one of the dogs actually got a hold of me in either one of these cases. The first instance where I was personally attacked by the dog that you're looking at in the picture. So when I was like maybe 13, 14, I'm thinking 14, we went up north. I live in the state of Michigan, and we went to the city of Atlanta, and we were helping out with my uncle's church. It was their VBS, Vacation Bible School. And we were all staying at his house on his property in trailers, RVs, and so on and so forth. And my uncle had a Doberman. His name was Rudolph. And every single one of his dogs that he ever owned, the larger ones, he loved Dobermans. He loved Dobermans. And he would have them all attack trained. And I don't know why he did that. Maybe he thought that the dog would be better behaved. I really don't know. I cannot say. I don't know what goes through the minds of dog nuts. I'm not a dog nut. I don't think like one. So, my cousin and I was maybe 13. He was maybe 12 or 11. We're very close in age. We're wrestling around, goofing around on the couch, as preteens do. And we were play fighting, basically. And he grabbed me, and then I grabbed him. And when I grabbed him, this dog lunged at my face with open mouth. He just went, clump. And what stopped him from getting a hold of my face was the fact that I was kind of slumped down in the couch and my knees were sticking out. So when he went to take a bite out of my face, he ran into my knees, and then he just gave me this lower lip, toothy looking scowl. And I'm like, oh crap, we better stop. But it didn't really dawn on me until years later that I could have been permanently disfigured right there. That dog was allowed to be in the room with younger people and preteens, not just adults. But not only was he allowed to be around us with no supervision, but he was trained to attack. Trained to attack. It's not enough that an animal has a killer instinct. I've got to train them to attack so that they're even more vicious. So that was the first time. The second time was a lot more recent. My wife and I were exercising. We were out at a park near where we live. And I noticed these two people coming up with a dog on a leash. And of course, it's got to be a big, nasty pit bull. So they're walking their dog, and I had my concealed license and I have my concealed handgun on me. I have a .40 caliber handgun. It's a Smith & Wesson. Anytime I go out of town or I go for a walk or anything, you better believe I have it on me. And we're walking in one direction and they're walking in the other. And I got in front of my wife very deliberately because if something's going to happen, I want it to happen to me, just because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm a husband, and I would die for her in a heartbeat. Those are the vows I took. So I'm keeping this dog in the corner of my eye. I'm not staring at him. I'm not threatening him or anything. And these two worthless dog nuts, they're just, they're laughing and they're looking at their cell phones. And I can see out of the corner of my left eye, the dog's looking at me. He's tracking me with his eyes. He doesn't think I'm looking at him, but I am. And right about the time that we started closing the distance, what's he do? Starts trying to bite me and starts clomping his jaws out. And I had my keys on a lanyard and I had them through a belt loop. He actually chomped down on my keys, so it was inches. It was inches. And when he stopped, they had no idea what to do with that worthless mutt. And I had my hand on my gun. I had my other hand out to protect my wife. And if that dog would have snipped my skin, if he actually would have got my clothing or anything like that, I would have blown that sucker away. So those are the attacks that I've had the misfortune of being on the receiving end of. The other things I want to talk about here is my personal experiences with dogs, annoyances, and stupidity. Now, pardon me again, this is another old picture, but I don't have very many pictures of this worthless mutt because it wasn't worth it. I took one picture, I was very young, and I used to take pictures of everything. So, this dog's name was Rue. Now, my cousins live down in Alabama. I've got a lot of family all over the place. These cousins lived in Alabama. Excuse me. They lived down in Alabama for years. And while they were living down there, this stupid, worthless mutt, and man, did this dog stink. All dogs stink, but man, this one stunk like something else. The wet, musty, stinky smell, always scratching himself. I thought he was sick. I said to my dad one time, I said, man, I think the dog is sick. And he said, "Well, why would you think that?" I said, "Well, because he stinks so bad." And my dad had said something on the side about, "Hey, how's your dog doing? Is he sick or something? I heard he's sick." And they're, "Oh, no, he's fine." So the dog just stunk, like all dogs do. So they decided years later, I had some circumstances in my own life. I ended up having to move out of my dad's house. It was a very toxic environment. I ended up moving in with my grandparents for a short time. And while I was living there, they decided that they wanted to move up from Alabama to Michigan. And they were going to get a house, and they were going to do this, and they were going to do that. And they brought their worthless mutt. While they were down in Alabama, the worthless mutt saw something in the road. He ran out there, got frickin' run over. Well, we could save the dog, but we're not going to be able to save his legs. So if you look in the picture, you can see that the stupid thing's only got 3 legs. So he'd hop around like a frickin' deranged mutant, and it was really just a sight to see. So the behavior that they accepted from him, this worthless dog would sit at the window all day, and anytime anything outside moved, he'd just go nuts. And the worst part about it, I think my hatred for dogs really, really cemented in with this dog. And he would just sit at the frickin' window and bark at anything that moved. And if you yelled at him or smacked him to shut up, oh man, don't leave him alone. He's just a dog. He don't know no better. But then one day he was loud enough and annoying enough, and they yelled at him, it was okay. Go figure. I'm running out of battery here. Pretty quick, I'm going to be done here. I'm going to wrap this up. Anyways, the other time, my uncle, different uncle, I've got 3 uncles. They're all freaking dog nuts. My uncle had this worthless pit bull boxer mix. He wanted me to take it for a walk. So I took it for a walk down by the docks, down by the fire dock. And this particular day, they ended up having some shipping containers that they were moving around down by the dock. So the whole time I'm walking this dog, it's literally choking itself with the leash that it's got on. I'm not moving fast enough, so it's literally choking itself to death the whole time. Just overheating and panting and slobbering and pulling itself, trying to pull me along. I mean, I'm not going to run. I mean, I run on the side, but I'm not just going to run everywhere. Just run. Like worthless mutts, what do? They just run. Gotta run and find some food. So anyways, we got down to the fire dock. They were unloading these containers with this big diesel-powered crane. We got almost all the way down to the water, and then it decided it didn't like the big scary boat. So what's it do? I'm pulling on it to try and keep it from choking itself. So I'm pulling in one direction. Well, sleight of hand, or I guess sleight of paw, you would say, this dog does an instant 180 out of her collar and takes off running right towards the busy road. And it happened so fast, there wasn't a whole lot I could do to react. So the second that I realized, oh crap, this dog is heading for the hills, heading right for the road, I take off after the thing, and I'm screaming, Mally, stop. Because if this dog gets hit, my uncle's he's gonna just kill me. He is, that dog is his world. Go figure, you know, he's an alcoholic, and I'll talk more about him in another video. That was not the only encounter with his worthless dogs that I had. But anyways, I got to wrap this up. The dog almost got hit by a car. I ended up grabbing it right towards the top of the road and putting its stupid collar back on. There we go. Putting its stupid collar back on. And then it choked itself the whole way home, almost died from overheating. So anyways, I hate dogs, and I'm going to be making as many videos as I can. Everybody else has a catchphrase, and I thought of one today while I was at work. You know, we're commanded in the Christian Bible to love the sinner, hate the sin. Well, here at Four-Legged Plague, we love the sinner, hate the dog. So that's what our motto is going to be around here. Love the sinner, hate the dog. All right, that should wrap things up. I'll see you guys in the next video.